9, 5, 0.
Welcome to the 950 Lounge Show, hosted by Kevin KP Pryor, the LeBron James of the radio game, the amazing Steph Pearl, the extremely hilarious Rodeo, Mike the moderator, and of course, Backstage Ed. You are listening to the best team in radio. And now I present the 950 Lounge.
We're back on the Ride 950 Lounge, still joined by the best team in radio, and we have two ladies who are no strangers to this program who are doing phenomenal things, and I mean phenomenal, and helping awareness in so many areas. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 950 Lounge Show. Founder and Sisters in Purple, Ms. Angelina Rosado, and Director of Peer Support, Ms. Angie Martinez. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for coming. We truly appreciate it.
No, thank you for welcoming us back home, because this is home for us.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you say that, because you know it was a time.
Bless your heart.
When I first met Angelina, she was really nasty to me. She's like, "Who is this person? And why are you texting me? And no, I'm not interested. I just want you on my show."
That was the first time.
Long time ago.
Well, you know she's happy now because she got the good shoes on.
She took away she go back to good shoes on. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And again, like I said, I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive. It's a beautiful thing when you build a friendship and you have that feeling. So thank you for that. That means a lot. That means a lot. I hope you feel the same way, Angie.
Yes, of course I do.
Okay.
I love you guys. You guys are amazing.
I may have been a little rough, but understand my position, right? We are not bad-looking women, and there's a lot of people that do write to us, or want to be near us just because we're beautiful or they like what we're talking about.
So
you just never be knowing who's trying to slide in a DM for what. It'd be like, what do you want? Who sent you? Who sent you?
I need to see that DM though later. But yeah, who you be with? So, but thank you.
It goes.
Yes, y'all are very beautiful women. Yes, I didn't notice that, to be honest. I'm such a professional that I just
want to let you know that she does have problems because of how she looks.
But in any event, let's get to the organization. You guys are doing some great things with Sister in Purple. Again, I think it's an organization that's so needed. We wish we didn't have to have it, but it is needed, and it's something you guys are doing great work. I know you're doing something with New York State. You met the governor. If you can elaborate, love to talk about that. Start.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for people who don't know, Sisters in Purple is a domestic violence organization that tackles gun violence, domestic violence, and community violence. And a lot of things that we like to do on the front lines is helping survivors of domestic violence, assisting them with getting them into safe environments, and then continuing their, purple brick road on their healing journey. And then the other fun part that we do is talk about policies and law changes and what needs to be done and what's out there and what can be fixed, right? So we were called to attend, to go up to Albany and get to meet with the governor to talk about the discovery law and the changes that she's trying to make on the discovery law. And, we have pushed back, of course. So for those who don't know what the discovery law talks about, pretty much, right? It's the part that we're trying to fix is the time framing of what's happening, right? So if you have a misdemeanor, the DA side has about 90 days to get evidence in before the case gets dismissed. If it is a felony, then you have 6 months, right? The issue that they have arose to us was that within those certain time periods, if a victim doesn't have evidence in that time, their case can get dropped, right? And it's something that they've been seeing, and it's become a pattern. Right. What happens when a case gets dropped is if a victim has an order protection, an active order protection, when that case gets dropped, that order protection gets dropped.
Right.
So we're trying to make sure that can be prevented, especially when some of these cases is like evidence that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like you don't even need it. It has no significance to the case.
Yeah.
But because that specific evidence wasn't in time, the whole case gets dismissed. And
so when you say the evidence component, is that from the lawyers and the police, or that's from the individual who has maybe done their deposition? What kind of explain that?
Just evidence that's pertaining to the case. So anything that's surrounding the case. It could literally probably be as something stupid as an Uber receipt. But if they don't have that Uber receipt in the time, they can end up getting it maybe like a day or two after that time frame, and they're done. Like the case is dropped, order protections are being dropped, victims are being traumatized over and over and over again, and that's something that we're trying to prevent.
Yeah.
But can the courts extend the time if the lawyers go back into the court and say we need a little bit more time to make sure that we can get this receipt because we're running into some type of troubles with it?
So from my understanding, I believe the only person that's allowed to do that would be the judge.
Yes.
And that's if the judge decides to, right? But again, you have someone else on the other side fighting for this
that.
other person, right?
Yes.
So if I'm a victim of domestic violence, this person that has caused me harm, I don't have a certain evidence that's getting put in time, or I'm petrified, right? I am freaking out, and I have a DA who's on my back, obviously because they want to do their job and make sure that this person can't cause me no harm. But again, the levels of that happens when domestic violence cases even get taken to court, the strength that someone has to even get the courage to even walk into a precinct to decide, okay, I want to pursue with charges. I want to now go talk to a DA.
Yeah, a lot of layers. Yeah.
So many layers to put that on a time frame of 90 days. It took me 6 months to say I was a victim of domestic violence.
Right.
You're putting me on a 90-day time frame?
Yeah.
How?
No doubt. I mean, Angie, the first time you was here, you told us about your story, and really, I mean, our audience really it hit a lot of nerve endings, and I still commend you for that, and we'll continue to do that. As somebody that works in peer support for the organization, kind of explain your role and what your focus and your day to day is like.
So basically, helping victims of domestic violence navigate through whether it's going to the precinct, if they need one-on-ones, if they need guidance of knowing what to expect on how to do it and what might be going on, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to also be realistic.
Right.
We always have to be realistic with ourselves, right? Because we don't want to re-traumatize them.
Yes.
So it's kind of tricky. But again, I love what I do. I love working with not only women. We also do work with men.
It happens,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's not only men that abuse; it's also women that cause the harm.
Because the men don't want to come forward because they'll be looked at as weak,
Right.
basically.
Right.
Right.
And then the shame comes after
Yeah,
that, right? And then the judgment, right? So we kind of like put people in front line where they're able to see these things happen, but they also have hope.
Yeah.
And they can
That's
actually
the
see
key
a little
word,
clear.
hope. Yeah.
You
Because again,
understand?
you feel like
You're blindfolded.
Yes, and if organizations like yours doesn't exist, something happens to somebody, it's like, well, what did I do? You probably have some folks saying, oh, it was just a one-off, and others are telling you, well, just forget about it, and others are saying, go do it, but where do I go? Who?
Right.
And again, it's so much of these emotions, and you mentioned it, Angelina, about just the time frame. Like, my gosh, like, don't have a family, don't have a job to go to, and you got to pay bills because now everything is convoluted. It's so much. So it's great that you guys have this piece here. When you look at some of the things that are out here now, like obviously the hot thing as we're doing this interview is the Shannon Sharp situation, the essay assault. Right, and people again, there's a balance, right? People are saying, "Oh, it's just a money grab," and others are saying, "Well, this poor woman." How do you guys, when you get involved with a situation, do you guys do your own investigating from a standpoint of like, is this real or just revenge? Is this something else? Is it more of a situation where you have to try to balance and find out where the truth is, or you just you take the word as the word and handle what you got to handle?
No, I think first and foremost, our motto is always going to be to believe survivors, right?
Yes.
So no one has the right to your story but you,
Okay.
right? And everyone has their own truth of what happened in a situation. There's three sides to every story. It's your side, my side, and then the truth.
Correct.
Right? So I'm not here to tell a victim what you're saying is wrong or you're lying, right? Because that may just be truly their truth.
Correct.
Now, this whole situation with this man and these women that are now coming out, now there's multiple women coming out.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's like, it's hard because, this is a strong black man in our pillar, in our community, and he's, doing great things. But then there's the experience of these women.
Yeah.
And it's not showing a positive light in somebody.
Yeah.
right? And for what we do is we do work with people that cause harm too. So causing harm is a learned behavior, right? So what hurt people truly do hurt people. That's not just like some random saying.
That is so real.
When we work with the people that cause harm, it's getting to the root of the issue, right? What's the core of the problem? What happened that you think that what you're doing currently in this situation is fine? And you don't see no wrong in it.
Yeah, because a person reached out to me. I mean, I did a commercial many years ago with Shannon Sharp. And, while on those 3 days on set, he was great, charming, better than the other football player that was there. But I don't know these people, and we don't know. People put on masks. I don't know. And I'm with you, even as a male. I would never tell a woman that, oh, you're lying. I don't feel I'm equipped to do that. That's not my place to do that. Now, obviously, do we know that there are people who, of course, fabricate stories, and those things come out eventually. But I'm not in the position to tell anybody that what they're saying is not their truth, because I wasn't there. Now, if I was in the situation and was there, that's different. But I wasn't there. I know the same thing happened to Marcellus Wiley, another popular former athlete who's now a broadcaster. And I think his situation has a lot of holes in it. But nevertheless, nobody's in the position who was not in that presence to say that person is lying.
Well, it's a lot of pro athlete. Kobe Bryant, it's like Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's but his was meant to be true in aspect, but still to this day, some people think these women fabricate.
I think the bigger conversation is what are our sports leagues doing to combat this cycle of abuse that's happening within their companies. What are they doing? What are these owners doing?
Right.
And how are they making sure that their players understand that, one, abuse is not acceptable, and two, mental health is real, and they should be focusing on that. I think that we got to shift it, right? Because while these athletes, everything's at their beck and call. They snap their fingers. They get whatever they want.
Right.
Right? No one is checking their behaviors because everyone's on payroll.
Right.
So when everyone around you is being paid by you, who's going to actually tell the boss?
It's all yes men.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody. Everybody wants to keep that money in their pocket.
Right. The only one that they kind of banned was Ray Rice. When his came out on the video about, he was on the elevator or something.
Right, it was with his fiance at the time, right.
I would say the NFL, to me, I think the NFL does a way better job of combating domestic violence than any other sports league. Because, we've seen, Chad Ochocinco, Evelyn Lozada, right?
Yes.
Dropped him like nothing.
Yeah.
They don't play when it comes to domestic violence because they realized that athletes were actually murdering their wives.
Yeah.
Things started getting very, very intense very quickly, and they had to respond to that.
Right.
And they continue to respond to it. We just praying and hoping and wishing that the rest of them catch up.
Right. Yeah.
And if y'all need Sisters in Purple help, come holler at us.
I'm glad you. Great
Don't come
segue.
at us purple now. I don't want you to come purple.
The marketing person in me loves that. And I agree with that because I think, again, when you look at these leagues, you're talking about billions of dollars. But billions of dollars is also, the NFL also has a lot of people, women who watch their sport. The NBA has a women's league. Major League Baseball, is considered a family sport. So when you start to get these leagues, and then obviously they all want to win, and sometimes it's easy to turn your head when it doesn't affect the play. But an organization like yours would be of value because, again, you are women who have experienced this unfortunate situations in your lives. You are women who are moving in a direction where you're in bigger rooms with bigger dignitaries, with people who have things to lose. And again, I think it would be beneficial because I really believe some of these leagues need this. We have the NFL draft, as we're doing this now, is happening this weekend, where you're taking, people who are signing a piece of paper and going from ashy to classy, right?
Right.
So how is that changed?
At very young ages, too.
Yes, at very young
ages.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Some of these athletes, their brains aren't even fully developed.
Yes, yeah.
And they're hitting these fields. But again, abuse and toxic behaviors are a learned trait.
Right.
So you're taking people from ashes to classy, but you're not changing mindsets.
Right.
You're just changing environments. That's all you're doing. You're not getting to the root.
So basically, I think, which I think would be a good idea, and this maybe should be implemented, The same way they have these pro athletes, when they first come to the league, they have financial people talking about them about scams. They should have groups like yours sit down and speak to them and let them know, the
Well, the
trade
NFL
terms.
has a symposium.
Yeah, but maybe they need to get more in depth.
Well, no, they do have a symposium. I have to give that because I obviously know somebody's going through the process. They do have a symposium where you have to go. Because remember, most of these leagues, well, all the big leagues, they're all union employees. Yeah. I know we don't think about them as union with that type of money, but they do have to go sit down. Now, again, I don't know how deep they are. And, if Ladies in Purple want to hire the kid here, my services are available. But my thing was that would be another component. They do touch on that, but I don't know how deep they go.
That's the thing.
Right.
It's
I don't know.
It's going.
Right.
Because you could say, if a woman says no, that means no. All right, in the conversation. No, you know what I'm saying? You got to go and emphasize if you're with somebody, if something's going on, how you should go about handling it. Because sometimes women they will flirt with you, and a man automatically thinks, okay, I can get this. Nah, doesn't mean that.
Got to go to break.
No, go break and I'll come back.
Yes, got to take a break. We're going to keep this going because we're a professional outfit here. Yeah. Angelina Rosado, Angie Martinez, Sisters in Purple is 9 Feet Lounge. Don't go nowhere. We're back on the Ride 9 Feet Lounge, still joined by the Sisters in Purple, Miss Angelina Rosado, CEO and founder, and Miss Angie Martinez, Director of Peer Support. Thank you, ladies, for coming. I want to flip the script a little bit, right? We were talking to athletes in the last segment and things like that. Now, we've seen an influx of older women.
Cougars.
Of sorts, yes. I'm trying to be professional here.
Tone it down. Hold on. He said that with his heart. That came from the gut.
Yeah, cougars.
I hope he don't date cougars because they be in the wheelchair.
But why they gotta be called cougars though? I don't really like that term.
They sugar daddies.
Well, let me
Sugar daddies are men that give young girls money.
Yeah, well, that's what she say.
No, I didn't say nothing. Only looking at me. Any event.
Stop.
Let me reboot. We were talking about athletes, and we've seen an influx of older women who are dating younger athletes. We mentioned in the last segment about how these young guys get this influx of money. The gentleman on the Rockets, I forget his name. What's his name, Mike? That's dating the girl from Basketball Wives. Drea, thank you. See, you know all that stuff. So we are seeing that. We've heard Brittany Renner. She has a child by another young athlete. With your organization, obviously, I know it's dealt with to deal with people who go through this trauma. But is there education involved with making choices for women? On better choices, or trying to find, maybe learn the red flags, or not just going for men because of monetary. Is there some type of education that you guys provide with that from a female perspective?
Well, yeah, we have a whole bunch of training to talk about healthy relationships and what unhealthy relationships look like. But I feel like when we start talking about women who are either in relationships with younger men or have children with younger men than they are, what's the problem? Right? Because who the hell was talking about Hugh Hefner when he had this big old mansion with nothing but little 18-year-old little girls running around? Nobody said nothing.
No clothes on.
They kinged him porn god. Okay? He was idolized by everybody in the industry, not realizing this man was a predator.
Right.
But that wasn't the problem. No one spoke about it. It was like, no, let's give him a magazine. Let's give him millions and billions of dollars. Let's big him up.
He became an icon.
He became a freaking Halloween costume.
Yeah, right.
Right? But now, Drea, who obviously fell in love with this man, and they just fell in love. That's just what it was. And we don't know these people in real life. I don't know what this woman has experienced or what this young man has experienced that drew them together.
Right.
Something in their lives drew them together. But why is it shamed upon when it's a woman dating a younger man, but nobody peeps a word when it's an older man dating a younger woman?
So let me flip that a little bit. Let's take it again.
Because they trying us. They trying us. Ladies, I got y'all back. Gotcha.
I'm being an objective journalist here.
That's right. This thing don't come with batteries.
Like I said, I'm even in the Brian Gumble stance here as I talk to you ladies. But from a standpoint, let's take it from a relationship where, a street guy, right?
A hustler.
Hustler. Thank you, Rodeo. So eloquently put.
Thank you.
Right. And again, obviously, he's doing things that necessarily are not necessarily the most moral or ethical things to make his money, but that woman's with him. Not to say he's a bad person, but that can have signs of being a very traumatic relationship. is there a situation where the organization not telling you what to do with your life, because that's an individual choice, but like maybe you should look at the totality of your relationship before you dive in or really become really locked in with somebody? Because again, situations of a spouse or a peer or a person you're dating can easily affect you. I lived next door to somebody when I was growing up, and this young girl was innocent, beautiful person. Talk my mother would talk to her about God. One day I come home from school, I see the news and the police, and I thought it was my house. I look up, it's the girl next door. She got shot in the eye because she saw too much. So when I say that, because there are people because of circumstance. So from your organization, who you've been through the ringer and you guys have influence and you're making moves, is that part of the program? It doesn't have to be the basketball, but just women who are making decisions where they can necessarily not be in those situations.
Yeah, I think that it's more of giving people back autonomy, right? Allowing people to make their own decisions and trust people that they have their right interests in heart.
Okay.
I think our society has this idea of what life is supposed to be, and everyone who does not fit in that mold, all of a sudden now you're wrong.
Yeah.
How you're living your life is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. Everything is wrong, and you're shunned upon.
Right.
And this is why people stay in situations. Because when let's say you grew up in a household where marriage was everyone's goal in your family, right? Now you're like, okay, I met this person. I love them. They love me in some type of way. Now we're engaged. But now this person shifts.
Right.
And their energy shifts.
Yeah.
And they're now abusive towards you. But because the way you were raised, right, there's no leaving that. Because everyone around you is telling you, well, if you get a divorce, you're going to be shunned upon. Nope, divorce aren't good. We don't have divorces in our family.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Allow people to make their own decisions and trust that they're making the decisions for themselves right.
It kind of.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It kind of reminds me a little bit about people in certain religions, right? You see, like Muslims, they tend to get in. Well, the women tend to get into those relationships that are super abusive. Sometimes I think there was like a video one time where a husband like smacked his wife after she put cake on his like nose in the wedding. Yeah, and so I was like, oh my gosh, like what do you do in something like that? Like, do you oftentimes find women in religion, in certain religions, maybe having a harder time in abuse as opposed to other things, or?
Well, no, across the board, domestic violence is disgusting, right?
Yes.
I think when it comes to people who are in a religion, right, it's understanding that when we're tackling domestic violence, we have to be culturally educated to be able to actually help these people and these individuals, because you never want to do anything that's going to make them feel like you're disrespecting their religion.
Yes.
So it's very sensitive, and this is why domestic violence is way more complicated than people think. And there's a lot of people that get into this field and they think like, oh, we're just going to get clout off of domestic violence, so it's a hot topic. But you're dealing with people's actual lives. Yeah. And when they go home, they have to now unravel all of that. Right? So what we do is we make sure that we're highly educated on what we're talking about and how we approach situations. We don't just go in and say, nope, get away from this person because he's treating you bad or she's treating you bad, right? No, you know that monster. I don't know that person.
Right.
You know how to navigate that person. So I need you to lead me on how to help you. And again, that's where we give people back their autonomy, give people back that trust that they can help get themselves out of situations too. We cannot have a savior's complex. We're not saving anybody.
Angie, get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we actually, it doesn't have a face. Domestic violence doesn't have a face. It could be each and every one of us, right? When people think about domestic violence or any type of abuse, they kind of like go into a shell because they're so afraid of, of what the outcome is going to be, right? Because we just don't know. Sometimes other people's opinions can take a toll on a person, right? For example, I work in the medical field. I'm a phlebotomist, medical assistant. I see this all the time, right? So me as a medical assistant, me having the experience that I have as being an advocate, it automatically turns on. Why? Because I already see the red flags, right? So my automatic instinct
tingling.
is reaching out. Here are the resources, right? Giving them the knowledge that they need to know, giving them the insight, right? Taking that blind off that stigma that it's not okay.
Yeah.
Right? It is okay. You can speak about it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of like the
And one thing about us, we
cloud.
are very big on partnerships.
Yes.
So if we're not educated or don't have enough knowledge on certain things, we reach out to our partner organizations to make sure that if that is their just there are literally domestic violence organizations for Muslim women.
Yeah.
Right? That's not my religion. I can't tackle certain things, right? Because I don't know
Right.
how in depth this religion goes, right? So I'm going to reach out to a sister organization. Hey, I have this client. They need some more support. Your services align with what they're in need of. And that's how we do soft transitions. But one thing with Sisters in Purple, once you're a part of Sisters in Purple, you're a part of us for life. So we're always with you. Even when you're going to another organization, we're always going to be with you.
Yes, because I think the thing is, just piggybacking off with Steph, because she came up the same thing I was going to ask. But the thing is, I think is not only Muslims, because also you're looking at Catholics, because they definitely have a lot of big things that they're not supposed to get divorced, and then Hindus and everything else. So religions, depending on, I'm glad you say that you work with other religions just to make sure that they get that understanding, because it goes both ways between male and female. And then sad thing to say with religion is that it's more male dominated. And then they feel that they try to always stick with that the male's probably the leader and he can do what to his property, as they make it
I
sound.
want to ask both of you ladies something, because I think it's more mental abuse than actually hitting somebody, physical abuse. How do y'all deal with the mental abuse? Because that's even more deeper than the actual physical abuse.
Let me tell you something. Mental abuse for me, mental and emotional abuse have to be the worst of them all, because that is something that literally lives with you for the rest of your life. And you have to choose healing every single day. Every day you wake up, you have to choose that you're not going to allow this to consume you. And we take it step by step. Domestic violence is not cookie cutter. So one approach may work with one survivor may not work with the other survivor. So again, we allow survivors to lead, and we trust them to know what they need. And sometimes, do we need to help them guide it a little bit? Absolutely. Because when you're coming out of these situations, sometimes you're like a lost kid.
Yeah.
It's like, where do I go from here?
Newborn baby. Yeah.
And we're here like, come on, coming in. And we walk you through it. We talk you through it. And then we allow you to make these decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
So emotional abuse is very hard to deal with because it's an everyday thing.
Yeah. Those scars don't heal like right away. Those are.
And she said y'all sisters for life, so if Big Ange is behind you,
Yeah,
it's
already
going
know.
to be some trouble.
So I got one thing I wanted to ask for both of y'all. How do you, when you're dealing with people, especially with mental or physical abuse, how do you digress yourself from, take yourself out of that situation when you get so much into this? I mean, because you see so many cases, then I know sometimes it may trigger what you might have went through, but then how do you all come again to just take yourself out from falling back into that same mode of being depressed or just harping on what happened to that particular person?
Well, honestly, it can get very overwhelming. But you also have to know when to take yourself out, right? If I know something's going to trigger me, I'm not going to put myself in that spot just so that I can help the other person while I'm going to be drowning, right? So we also have to set boundaries within ourselves, right? It's very hard to do,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a battle, right? Yeah. We make a choice every single day when we wake up in the morning. Do we want to be equals, or do we want to be positive, happy, right? Do we want to give people hope? That's a choice that we make every day.
Right.
And that was one of the hardest choices I ever had to make, right? As a survivor, learning how to navigate
trust
through
again.
that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Learning, and I'm still learning how to navigate through that, right?
No doubt.
I'm lucky enough and I'm grateful enough to have my sisters in purple,
Yeah.
right? And I have my sisters to actually guide me along the way, because if it wasn't for them, I don't even know where I would be at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, one, like Ange said, knowing your limits, right? And knowing but again, this comes with your own personal healing journey. Before you step into this field, that for some odd, scary reason, people think that it's just everyone can do it. Everyone cannot do this work.
Yeah.
Right? Every survivor that may want to come out and say, I want to help other survivors, may not be mentally and emotionally ready to, one, say their story 1,000 times without being triggered, but also be equipped with enough with the information to actually become a resource. Everyone's not able to do that. So when you are able to do it, you know, one is knowing your limits. And I always tell my team, we mental health check each other first.
Yes.
Before we get into spaces, I want to make sure that my team's mental health is great.
Yeah.
Because like Ange is about to speak for Sexual Assault Awareness Month event, Denim Day,
Nice.
April 30th.
Right.
And, you know, she had a very difficult time in the beginning speaking of what happened to her.
Of course, yeah.
I had to get on the phone when I start getting her details of what's going to happen. I'm like, Ange, I always tell survivors, select the part of your story that you can speak on clearly. If you cannot speak that story, a certain part of your story without cracking and without feeling like you're about to cry, it's not time for you to say that.
Not ready to. Not ready.
Take the time. You'll be able to stick to this. We still got to work on this side.
Yeah.
So it's always making sure you check your mental health first.
Well, before
Very
we
important.
go to break, I again, like I said, you know, I'm fans of what you do and what you guys do every day on the battlefield. You're just not just an organization, and it's more than just an organization. To me, it's like a ministry.
Yeah.
Because you're really saving.
Now you're going to make me cry.
I'm surgical with this microphone. I do this.
That's
with-
allergies. And
That was God right
But
there.
no, real talk. I know we're joking, all, but it's a ministry because again, you are saving souls, and I know you guys know it. And I know when you wake up and you go out, and people that maybe you saw 2 years ago are now thriving. It's a great thing. So salute to you guys. It's continuous.
Looks
We'll take
like
a quick
he's
break.
crying.
We keep this thing moving. Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Non-Fee Lounge, come on back. We're back on the ride, Non-Fee Lounge, joined by the Sisters in Purple, Miss Angelita Rosado, CEO and founder, Miss Angie Martinez, Director of Peer Support. It's been a real pleasure having this conversation, tackling a lot of different things. You guys, again, are not new to this. You've been doing it a while, but there's still mountains to climb. What's next? And I'll start with you first, Angelina. What's next? What's the next step for your organization? You know, you're meeting, you know, dignitaries, political figures. Is the political aspect, law changes and things of that nature now the next step for the organization? Or
Well, pause, because we've been doing this. Okay. I
My
helped
apologies.
create 2 laws in this state.
Yes, ma'am.
Been there, done that.
Show me.
But we going harder.
She did pause you.
We
Pause.
going a little harder. Sisters in Purple has literally become its own movement in itself. And, you know, I couldn't have been more happy. I think when I first called my co-founders, Shamara Kelly and Erica Ewan, we just thought of a march. I ain't never think that, you know, years down the line, we're going to be sitting with the governor of New York, right? And discussing bigger laws that need to be changed and fixed. So for me, you know, in my lane of what I do with Sisters in Purple is always going to be policies and changing laws, because that's where the real help comes from.
Is a political run in your future?
Woo! I don't know. People always ask me that, but if it does happen, I'm gonna never say never. I'll say that. Let me just say never say never, right?
Councilwoman.
It's God's plan, not mine. So I allow Him to lead me, and wherever that road may go, that's where we'll be.
I can see you being a congressional.
I would be in the hood caucus though. Like I would not be like
you and Jasmine Crockett, huh?
hello. There's the hood caucus, okay, with Natasha Williams and them. I would be right there. Those would be my sisters. Like let's go. We suited and booted in this room. Like that's how we come
I
in.
never
Listen.
heard of a hood caucus.
Honestly
Look it up.
speaking, keeping it a buck, you know, and we bring a lot of politicians here. I can really see. That's why I asked. I can really see you being a congressional leader. You are a leader to this point now. You're in the world now. You're making moves. Why not? I mean, there's always growth. There's always
Absolutely.
continue to evolve. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm
And
sure
that's-
Angie
I'm
come
never-
down and watch them with you.
They'll be there with me, period. They're not going nowhere.
Be a bunch of chicken vendors.
I leave a purple trail. I leave a purple trail behind every walk that I take, and my sisters are always going to be right behind me every single step of the way.
You know, Saratoga bottles are almost
My
purple,
God,
right?
today.
I'm joking. It's a joke. Laugh with me, people. Laugh with me.
I got you, Kev.
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate you.
Well, when Saratoga decides
I
to
hit him
start
over the head
sponsoring
with
Sisters in
Saratoga
Purple
bottle.
at some of our events, then we'll be shouting out Saratoga.
Why don't you have a conversation? Maybe we can make that happen.
We can.
There you
always
go.
have a
See, that's what I'm
conversation.
saying. You don't get what you don't ask for.
Hello, somebody.
Don't be pushed into that realm until you really think you're ready for it.
I'm ready for whatever.
Born ready.
I'm a Leo, honey. There's no stopping me here. I was put on this planet for a reason. And as far as Sisters in Purple, I think we're just getting bigger and better.
Yeah.
And I do see a building, a big
Okay.
old Sister Purple building in the horizons, a big old Sister Purple truck on the way, a medical clinic.
Official sponsor
Like,
of Barney.
Yes.
I
like,
love you. Evie Purr, you love
Barney
me.
could throw on one of our shirts too and start talking about domestic violence for children. I mean, domestic
Yeah.
violence is in every realm,
Yes.
so we can turn it into something way bigger. And I think that's what it is. We got to think big.
Let me ask you, because they have the walkathon about the breast cancer. You think they're gonna have? Do you think you could put together a walkathon for survivors of domestic violence?
We do every year.
Or they-
We have a domestic violence march.
That's how they got
And
started.
in order for it to be bigger, right,
But
we're
I'm
going to
talking about
need community
really
support.
making
Right.
it big.
How that breast cancer walk came big was because the community stood behind the organization that started it, right?
Right.
Now it's a
So what we
national
need,
walk now.
right, is that now I need you to be outside in a purple shirt in October. Right? I don't need it to
XL.
be where
I'm there.
Hello, we need the community support. If we want to be as big as that cancer
Right.
march, because we do share the same month,
Right.
and domestic violence is killing people at twice the higher rates,
Yes.
right? That should be a bigger topic. It
Right.
should be a huge topic that in October everyone should know why somebody has on purple,
Yeah.
right? But again, we need the community support. So don't talk about it, be about it. When we outside, step outside with us.
Are you getting pushback from people who necessarily don't wanna? Because I feel that like it's something that maybe you're not getting the support you feel you should be getting. I mean,
We're talking about domestic violence.
yes,
Right? That's not a subject that everybody is okay with talking about because people have not given the green light to talk about it.
right.
It's like taboo still.
Exactly.
Right.
And we're trying to take the taboo. So even when we're in spaces and people, they open up and they're like, oh, it's going to be very heavy. Why? Why say that? Because now you're deeming it to be heavy.
Right.
Let's just let it be a conversation. The same way we could talk about cancer, we could talk about HIV, we could talk about STDs, we could talk about sex, right? We should be able to also talk about healthy and unhealthy relationships
Yes,
within our community because, again, it's a community problem.
it's colorless.
Yes.
Yeah, I think within due time it will start becoming that way because it took that same way like that when it came for HIV and all this stuff like that. It took almost a decade or so before people started dying from it, and then people say, "Hey, let's just start talking about it."
But
Once you get the right people, it'll come out.
But they are talking about it again more because of the Sean Combs situation was going on. And so it's starting to resurface more about domestic violence.
Yeah, and my problem with that is that when it came to that situation, they were more focused on the individuals versus
Celebrity,
what
yeah.
actually happened there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was more focused on whether this young woman wanted to get money from him and this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about he just dragged, like literally punched in her face and dragged her through
Yeah.
the carpet. We missed that whole part.
Right.
Right? I just saw this post on Facebook and it was one of our colleagues. They did a domestic violence press conference. Everyone in those comments on the news channels, Instagram, Facebook, was talking about the fact that they released balloons. Oh, don't release the balloons, the environment, the animals. This woman was just murdered and we're talking about balloons?
Right.
What is happening in society that we don't have no respect for another human life?
Yeah. Scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
It's scary and it is in everybody's household,
Yeah.
whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are still scared to have the conversation, that's fine. We come into communities and we make it a space where it doesn't have to be that scary.
Yeah.
Right? When I sat with that governor and my grandmother who is 60 plus. I'm not gonna say her age because she might get me. But she's an older woman,
rodeo
and she
can-
comes
can-
from,
Oh, come on, man, stop that.
she comes from a generation where you don't speak on that kind of thing.
Yes.
You accept it and you keep moving on with life. Either you stay or you don't, but you don't talk about it. Right? And my grandmother got to see me sitting with a governor talking about domestic violence, and she called me and she cried. My grandma's a woman, very headstrong Puerto Rican woman, like played no games. She will hit you with that chancleta in a heartbeat. Okay? But to hear my grandmother sound like a helpless little woman, you know, what I did for her in that moment, she literally was like, you know, when I was stabbed and left to die, I didn't have a voice. I didn't know how to use my voice to say I needed help or this wasn't okay.
Yeah.
She's like, but you did. And thank you. Because what I did is I just freed her from an imprisonment
Yeah.
that she was in mentally. She wasn't physically in prison, but mentally she was. And I let her know, like, you know, Ma, it's cool. And I didn't want to cry while she was on the phone, because then I would have just been more emotional. But I'm like, you weren't able to use your voice, but you raised me to use mine, and that's what I'm doing with it.
Right. Such a powerful wow, that's powerful, because obviously that's the next generation. That's what grandma had, what grandma walk allowed you to run.
Yeah.
And you're running. And really you've been here a couple times, but it's just your voice. I don't know, it's just maybe me. Your voice has become more powerful. It's not that you wasn't passionate before, but it's resonating. And I think that's so important as you continue this journey, because again, we need to get to things where we can openly talk about. We talk about all the other nonsense that's out here. Why can't we talk about things that really matter? And I think having these conversations, this is why I love having you on the show. Not that you're a friend and a colleague, but having you on the show, because I think people get this of all ages. Because obviously our age bracket is young and old, and it crosses financial and education. But this is things that are happening. I don't care if you're, the hedge fund owner, or or you're somebody who's unemployed. Everybody's dealing with this, and this is something that we need to have conversations on and not be afraid to talk about it. And
Listen, this conversation is so deep. Right now the topic is violence amongst the youth. That's everyone's focus right now. And what people aren't realizing is, it's not, to me, it's important to understand why these kids are picking up guns, right? But it's important to also understand, why do these kids feel so unsafe that they need a gun?
Right.
What is happening in the community that these children don't feel safe enough?
Right.
Right? This is a scary time for these young kids, and these kids are dealing with way more than what I had to deal with, right? Our stuff was on the back burner. So the whole world didn't have to see my mother was a drug addict, or my mother's not a drug addict before she cussed me out. But just as an example, like
analogy.
These kids are dealing with parents that are addicts.
Yeah.
They are dealing with social media. Right. They're dealing with so much. The level of not knowing how to regulate their emotions is where we're missing them at, right? We're not teaching these kids, when you get mad, you don't have to go punch a wall, right? Let's go to a boxing ring. Let's tackle that energy into something more stronger than that. Because these kids are feeling so unsafe. I have young brothers, right? I have teenage brothers. One of my brothers is dealing with an attempted murder charge. 14.
Wow.
14 years old. This is my baby.
Yeah.
Right? How did we get here?
Yeah.
Right?
I think the situation is that because you say, yes, the emotions are differently, but then I think they became emotionless.
Yes.
Because of the thing of whatever they went through, they've been desensitized to so much different things that happen to them. Because nowadays you can look at it, you find, it's broadcast so much about murders. It's been broadcast so much about abuse, people getting beat up, people getting jumped into gangs, that they see this as a common thing, that it doesn't click in their mind that this is not how society is supposed to be. You're not supposed to go and hurt people or kill people like that just because.
So we have to go back into what's your brain telling you, right?
Yeah.
Right? Our brain is going to tell us when we sense some form of danger, fight, flight, or freeze, right? But people forget that fourth F, and it's fawn, right? And what happens when someone is fawning over something, they become that.
Yeah.
I'm now becoming the environment because I couldn't beat the environment. So I just joined the environment.
Right, yeah.
So I told my brain, no, I'm cool, I'm fine.
Survival mindset.
Survival mode. We're having kids younger and younger pick up guns because they're in survival mode.
Yeah.
Imagine being 11 years old in survival mode.
Yeah.
You don't know where your next meal's coming from. So you got to run the block because that's all you know. There's no jobs out here for these kids. A lot of our outlets for our young adults got snatched away from them.
Yeah.
Right now, the White House just snatched away millions of dollars from our crisis management.
Yeah.
How are we going to tackle gun violence in our city when y'all taking the money from the people? You think NYPD's out there, boots on the ground like that?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Our crisis management team, and shout out to them for being the reason, and I'm going to give them the credit for that, for being the reason why gun violence in New York City is down.
Right.
Because these are people from the block working with the kids every
Right.
single day. These kids trust these people more than they trust their own parents.
Yeah.
And we're taking that away from them
Yeah.
and telling them figure it out.
Yeah, thank you for being there.
No
for the
doubt.
people being there because, there's right now because I know I had to call the cops a couple of times, and they didn't even show up because either whatever reason why they don't want to be bothered or they protesting, whatever they doing. It's just that now you're looking at what's going on in the cities and everything else. Funding is a big thing, and when you get so many programs that's getting cut, food programs, domestic violence, health care, all this soon to be Social Security and Medicare and everything else. When you get all this stuff, you're gonna put people into a mindset that's going to be more
survival mode.
more things that make them more violent.
Forcing us into
It
survival
only
mode.
makes a difference when it comes to somebody's doorstep. So
Yes.
a lot of these people who are making these decisions and cutting these programs, they look at it as just numbers and being bean counters. It don't matter until that kid is sitting in your kitchen, and he ain't there for pancakes. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So, listen, you know how we get down with you. It's love. It's so much, and I more than ever, I'm putting it out there now. Congresswoman Rosado, I think it should be said because you got it all, and you got your first in command right there with Angie. But where can people find more information? Want to support your organization because this stuff takes money. This is a crusade. Where can people reach out to, give money, and learn more about you guys?
Absolutely. So everyone can find us on sistersinpurple.org. On Instagram, Sisters in Purple. Facebook, Sisters in Purple. Our Cash App, Sisters in Purple.
Yes.
Email sistersinpurple@gmail.com.
This is our logo.
This is us, Sisters in Purple. Definitely we would. Money's amazing. Support is even better. Pop out, show
All right,
out,
Vanna.
and meet us in the streets.
She put the bag up like this.
Period. Yes.
If the price is right.
She's Jerome, and that's Morris Day. But again, thank you, ladies, for coming. We appreciate you. We support you, and whatever we can do, we're here. And the next time some man that you don't know enters your DM, give him a chance. Don't hit him so much hard.
Don't jump into my DMs because you heard him say that.
Angelina Rosado, Angie
Get the
Martinez,
bag and the shoe.
Sisters in Purple. Thank you,
Send a
ladies.
donation first.
Truly appreciate it.
Send a donation.
Send
Let's
a
take a
donation
quick break.
first.
We keep this thing moving. Best team in radio. Where else you want to be?